Welcome to Commonwealth Conversations. During the 2023 General Assembly session, we're speaking to legislators about top issues under consideration in Richmond. Our guest today is Senator Barbara Favola, who represents Arlington, Fairfax, and Loudoun counties. Welcome, Senator. Thank you for being with us.
It's a pleasure to be with you. You know, I was a member of VACo and the president-elect before I ran for the state senate. So this is a bit like coming home.
And we never want you to forget where you came from. So we'll always
I won't. After 14 years in local government, I won't forget.
Well, can you talk to us a little bit about your top priorities that you've got for the session?
Yes, I am focusing quite a bit of time and energy on bolstering our behavioral health services. I've got a care management plan in place that I hope will pass the House, allowing hospitals to provide medical homes for patients who visit emergency rooms rather frequently. Many of these patients have behavioral health issues. I'm also working to get more money to our CSBs, and I'm in favor of Governor Youngkin's proposals to bolster our crises intervention centers, crises stabilization centers as well. So we've got some venues forward.
Well, speaking of behavioral health care, I know that the governor does have a lot of money in his budget, in his introduced budget for behavioral health care. And behavioral health care has been a major topic of discussion all year during this session and throughout the Commonwealth. What solutions do you think are the most promising
In the behavioral health
in
realm?
the behavioral health realm?
Well, you know, I've got some legislation that would actually allow our school systems to hire psychologists on a interim basis if they don't have their full endorsement or their full license. So we'd be able to bring more behavioral health folks into our school systems, which I think helps with the preventive side. I do have money that would support some of the crisis stabilization efforts that the governor has allocated dollars for. I really do think, though, that there's a whole spectrum of care that individuals should be able to access in their communities, and part of that is connecting primary care to mental health services. I would like to see our Virginia Mental Health Project funded at a higher level, and that allows primary care physicians to connect their patients to mental health services on site.
As a former local government official, I know that you're constantly checking the pulse of your communities and your constituents. What do you believe is a pressing need in your localities, and how can you effectuate change? Maybe legislatively, may not be legislatively.
Well, my part of the world is Northern Virginia, and the lack of affordable housing is becoming a real impediment to attracting workers, to retaining workers, and especially in the area of, you know, emergency services. So, you know, our police, our fire, so many folks we depend on to be right there when we need them can't afford to live in our communities. So we have bolstered the Housing Trust Fund. We've got about $150 million over a 2-year period in the Housing Trust Fund. We are looking at different partnerships with through community-based programs to maybe provide lower interest loans with the communities applying. We're looking for all kinds of strategies. At the end of the day, though, the supply has really shrunk. We did have a supply, like 15 years ago, the supply of housing sort of matched the number of people who needed housing, so things were affordable. Now, the supply of housing has shrunk based on our population growth, and the ratio is way off. So that's interesting. You know, localities are looking at different zoning models. You know, Arlington is debating a missing middle zoning opportunity, which essentially would permit single-family lots to have more than just a single-family home. Maybe have 4 or 5 units on a lot that's currently zoned for single-family. They're considering that option.
Well, let's talk a little bit of politics.
Yeah,
this
sure.
is a short session, and you are going to be dealing with close to 2,000 bills probably in 45 days, plus additional budget amendments, maybe 500 additional budget amendments.
Right, that's right.
We have a divided government. We have narrow majorities in each chamber. And what is your approach to moving legislation forward?
Well, I care deeply about gun safety issues and, of course, women's access to health care, including abortion care. Those have been, areas that I've focused on. And, of course, the domestic violence area. And I have found, partners across the aisle on those topics. It's really important, though, to clearly identify the problem you're trying to solve and to be able to convince lawmakers, especially those that may be on the other side of the aisle or in another part of this Commonwealth, in the rural part, that they're sharing the same, their constituents have the same issues mine have. Gun safety as it relates to domestic violence was a bipartisan issue. When I passed the assault and battery of a household member and removing a firearm, we did get bipartisan support for that. So now it is becoming even more polarized. And, part of it, I think the governor is his ambitions to run for president. Everything seems to be going through now a political screen, which I hadn't noticed in the past quite to this degree. So it's unfortunate. I don't think a lot will get through this session. I'm not sure a lot of laws a lot of bills will actually become laws.
Well, Senator, thank you for being with us with the Virginia Association of Counties and for sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.